tuned in to this week's episode of Tribal Research Specialists, the podcast. A podcast about tribal people, our communities, and discussions on research traditions. We aim to uncover the true meaning of research methodological approaches that are currently operating in tribal life, with implications for tribal communities and avenues for knowledge production. That is a mystery. That's a mystery song. I don't know who's singing. I don't know where it was recorded. I don't know what the song name is. If it has a Latin name, I don't know what it is. It's a mystery.
In the Powwow world, you call that a tape find.
Tape find. So this is tape find number 1, episode 23. And I'm hoping a listener, and I'm hoping Mike will tune in, Mike LaFramboise. He'll listen to that and say, oh, yeah, that's so-and-so at so-and-so, Fort Hall, 1972, or something like that.
He'll probably say, oh, I was there. I'm standing right there.
Yeah, I recorded that.
Or that's my first lead.
Yeah. That's me in my first lead. Yeah, I got to kick the second lead and busted it out. But yeah, so that song, comes from a box full of reel-to-reels that was gifted to my mother by Larry Parker. And
that old man, Larry Parker.
Yeah,
he had a deep voice.
Yeah, and there's a number of untitled reel-to-reels on there. This is one of them. I'm not sure where it's from. And actually, it kind of sounds like the recording of a recording. So I'm thinking maybe our listeners might be able to help identify the group singing that, and possibly.
Well, that's how it used to be. Remember, somebody would show up and say, I was at Shoshone Indian Days last weekend, and he'd be like, what, you record? And I said, yeah. So you put your recorder next to their recorder.
Oh yeah,
and then you steal the tunes.
Yeah, jump, give me a jump, tape recorder jump.
Oh, and you always had that one friend who didn't ever record the whole song.
Oh yeah, just the beginning.
So he's like, well, I just wanted at least to get a start. I'm like, dude, it's not. You got to get part of the MC. Like when the MC starts to announce them, and then you get that part.
That's the pro.
Then when they finish the song, you gotta wait till the high chas or the hokas are done.
Yeah.
Then,
or if you're extra pro, you get the category that they're singing for.
Oh
yeah.
It's tough. It depends on what you're recording on.
Sure.
Is it LP, SLP? Is it are you on a 60-minute Miramax? I remember. Yeah. What was it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Are you on a 90-minute tape? Only rookies would do 90-minute tapes.
Yeah, you got to get the 120. Yeah, I mean, you get some tension when you get that much tape rolling through, but it's worth it. You get more on there.
Did you ever have to negotiate grand entry? You'd be like, all right, they're gonna go down the line on grand entry. Yeah. Am I committed to this, or am I just? Because I had a hard time just stopping after the first song, because then the second song starts right away, and I'm like, okay, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna keep going?
Yeah. Or the when you get to the drum group, you don't necessarily like too much, but you don't want to look like the guy who kind of skips over them, so you just stand there anyway with your recorder, not recording.
There's that day paid drum that just got in the contest to sing more, and you're like, oh, they're in the middle of the rotation. The next crew, I don't want to be that guy.
They're right between IRB and Stony Park.
Oh, and then you're like, I can't risk.
Yeah.
But then everybody else ditched. So then you're like, there's 5 of you. So you're like, that's way too noticeable.
Yes, classic.
Oh man.
That's classic.
Have you ever had a drum judge walk away from your group in like the middle of the in the middle of the song?
I've seen that.
It's like that's a horrible feeling. Like,
or they roll up and mark their ballots and then just watch the dancing the rest of the song.
and you're like, like, oh man,
Didn't even give you a chance.
You're like, all right, boys.
Good try. Good try.
We're here for love. We're here for the love of the game, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, so I don't know. You know, I think what I'll do is I'll go through some of these other mystery tunes on here and hope they're not like ceremonial songs or nothing. And just kind of go through and play some of these on episodes here and there, and maybe we can get some audience engagement to help identify some of these tunes, because there's some
probably not. Most of them are probably just powwow tunes.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's some that sound of a particular nature, but
suspect.
They sound very sus. Been into that?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's yeah. My daughter, sus.
Yeah.
She's like, sus, Dad. Everything. Very sus.
Yeah, I saw you vent. You're venting. this game, man. Did you try it? It's addicting.
No, what's the game? Roblox?
No, Among Us.
Oh, Among Us.
Yeah.
Is Roblox a thing now, or is that done?
Yeah, it's still a thing for a certain age group. But what this game does, this Among Us, is it teaches you how to lie really well, and you find out that people are really good at lying. You know, it's kind of amoral in a way.
I think. Do they play it with other people?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think Mattia has been playing it with my niece.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm gonna play Among Us, and it's like, all right. I don't know. I mean, they could say anything.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't
could be having an online gaming industry going on or something. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, well, it's hard to do here with our Lee Wi-Fi. You couldn't really run an internet empire out of our Wi-Fi.
Internet, nothing. You can barely sell bumper stickers. And oh yeah, by the way, our website is live. If you haven't had.
Oh, do we have a website?
Yeah,
for tribal research specialists. Let's tell the listeners about our new venture here.
Yeah, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about this. Go.
Well, we're not affiliated with an academic institution.
Mm-hmm.
So tribal research specialist essentially is going to be doing, I think, what we feel like is culturally relevant research, questions Indian people ask, you know,
mm-hmm.
Not necessarily academic questions even. I think
yeah.
I mean, anywhere from like ethnographic overviews, archaeological survey, but even the interpretation of natural resource data, you know, stuff like that. I don't see us being limited to any one thing,
right?
But I also think we're gonna try to do it for Indian people, man, like by Indian people, not like the FUBU for us, by us.
We ain't gonna make baggies.
We're not gonna baggies.
Not gonna make baggy jeans.
Baggies.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we might. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, you can add that onto the webpage. You know, clothing line.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, not entirely. I guess unless I see the product, and then maybe. So okay. Anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think we're going to be doing. Asking hard questions too. I think
that's right.
You know?
That's right. And you know, one of the things that I as my part in this, I think is also providing those who want to do research in Indian country or with natives, I think we can provide a great deal of consultation on how one might approach their own research in particular areas associated with things that we feel are important. So helping to guide researchers to pinpoint issues that are important in Indian country, but then also and further is to help to develop an evaluation plan that's going to produce data that's not only important to the researcher, but important, and that's going to work in native communities. Because I think most researchers are really have that that in mind. They're not just out to exploit anymore. I think that might be sort of a thing of the past, but still finding the right people to I guess interpret what the needs are, I guess interpret those into what the community sees as I think that's an important endeavor, and one that you don't get a whole lot when you hire evaluators that are not I don't know, lack of a better word, seeped in things tribal. Seeped for 3 minutes.
Tribal seepage.
Tribal seepage. Yeah. Tribal seepage into with a dash of cultural understandings. Yeah, so that, I mean, to add on to what you said, that's what I see as another service that we will provide.
Yeah, I think so. I think that that's obviously more your skill, but as our LLC, the Tribal Research Specialist, fits right in there, man. Like
It does.
I wouldn't mind trying to learn how to do stuff like that, but that's not my area, But I think our little business here is going to be well rounded when it comes to things like that.
Right.
I'm kind of working on this project. Well, not kind of. I am a part of a project where we're developing a museum and a cultural center for the Crow tribe.
Yeah.
Through Little Bighorn College, and the kind of the work we're doing, I can see us doing that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree. And you know what I think?
Stuff.
You know what I think? I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think you do those things, just not in the way in which you're picturing.
Oh, let's not do this.
No, we're gonna do it, man.
Let's not do this
because
you're good. I'm good.
Well, this is the deal. This is the deal. Because you tell me this all the time. You're an ethnographer, you just don't know it, or you're an archaeologist or anthropologist, and you just don't know.
Well, you are, man.
Well, see,
I mean, the work you do that's what it is.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. This,
I
mean, to be able to read between the lines and see data for what it is, for what it needs to count for, it don't take no. In a way, it doesn't take an academic doctorate to do that. It takes experience, and it takes a deep foundational knowledge of culture, but also current understandings of how that's expressed in tribal communities. If someone has that did I say 3 things? Trifecta? Or was it only 2 things? Is it a bifecta?
It's a
I don't think it's a bifecta.
Quadfecta.
Quadrifecta. Yeah. Yeah. That can guide any project. And I think people need that, You get researchers coming to reservations and are fumbling around, and man, we can provide much clarity to their.
Hey, so maybe that's our first kind of call out to our listeners, because I think we still have some carryover listeners from our last venture. Is that tell us what you're researching, man, and maybe we'll pick one of those things and we just invite them on.
I think so.
Kind of people who are open to criticism, and like we can say, hey, this is what we think. This is obviously, if they're about to defend something or it's already off to the copy editor, maybe not them, because we don't want people to feel bad and be like, oh, I should have added that or whatever.
Well, I mean, but that might be valuable too for the.
Well, I guess that's up to them, right?
Right.
Like it'd be up to them if that's what they want to do. But also, like, plus we might come across something like, or highly likely that we'll come across something that I don't know anything about and just want to hear more about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a good, that's a good description of what I think this podcast has been, but is going to be, I think, is just opening the door to conversations that I think really matter. And some of the things that I wanted to talk about in this particular episode, which may or may not happen, I don't know yet. Well, it just depends on how we feel. But I think
well, we could address the elephant in the room too, and just straight up say we're no longer affiliated with an academic institution.
Yeah, no, we aren't.
Yeah,
we aren't.
Yeah,
we're untethered.
We're untethered.
Yeah,
and that's not anything disrespectful to the old place,
no,
or anything like
not
that.
at
But
all.
Now I think we can. I don't know. We're untethered, I guess is the right word. I don't know that. I didn't want to say tethered. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I thought a tether ball in like being fifth grade. I lost a fifth grade tether ball match to a girl. And it's still, oh man.
Yeah, that scarred you.
Sting.
I can tell.
Well, because I won a few. I was kind of on a hot streak and thought, hey, why not try to take the giant, and
yeah.
Turns out at that time the girls tetherball was kind of their thing, man.
Yeah. You're right.
Got worked.
Yeah. Accept the loss. Let's move on.
L's.
You have
big L's, couple L's in life.
You haven't done it yet, but you work it out. Have you tried counseling? Is that an option, or is there?
I'm seeking professional help on all fronts.
Not just that issue, but a whole host of other things.
Well, there's a whole host of other things. When you grow up and never deal with those problems, they just create more problems. And now, oh Lord.
Okay.
So what do you want to talk about?
Well, this is the deal. Yeah. I this is the thing, so we're dealing with something right up front, right? So we got this this song that we don't have no information about. It's obviously not too old. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, just from my experience or my knowing of audio, I suppose. But so this brings up this idea. So if we were to investigate this and go down some sort of if you want to call it a research path, maybe not formally in like you would in an academic setting, but maybe you do. Maybe you're an academic and you're a native and you got this box of audio and you want to know what I want to know what these are about. It brings up this difficult thing of native scholars performing research among their own people. That's an issue. Mm-hmm. I think. I don't know if it is. I mean, I feel it is in a couple of ways. Number one, because there's layers of bureaucracy now that have been put in place. One being, if you're an academic for an institution, you got to go through your IRB, your Institutional Review Board. Number two, if you're doing research among your own people, well, your tribe may have its own tribal Institutional Review Board. So now you have to go through 2 layers of bureaucracy just to figure out what's on a tape. And I don't know if that fits in with what would be defined as research, but I think people like to err on the side of caution. Is that how you say that? Err on the side of caution.
Err.
Because it sounds like I'm just saying air, the stuff you breathe, atmosphere, air.
Yeah,
air,
oxygen.
Air, oxygen on the side of caution. So it's not like this. It's not like, okay, I'm going to go chat with my auntie about some cool things that she experienced in her life. Well, because I'm a native academic, I'm associated with the institution, I can't do that now because it might be considered research.
Yeah, and at what point do native academics and researchers just draw the line and say, no, this system isn't designed for us?
Right. Right.
Now, even within that, you have another set of what would you say, issue, which is the practitioner versus the non-practitioner.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still appropriate for the practitioner of, let's just say, ceremony
Yeah.
to still have to go through all of that, even though he was given permission, let's just say, from the people who conduct those things? Say, let's just say, like a Sundance chief, right?
Yeah.
Someone Sundances and says, hey, I want to do a bunch of research. This is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Goes to the leader of that ceremony in his community, and that person gives him permission. Do you think it's relevant or even appropriate for him to still have to go through IRB? Because what do they know about that?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna happen, right?
It's gonna happen. There's no doubt. Yeah. So then you're in a way you're being you're having policy or rules placed on you by people who are not engaged in that discipline as experts, or potentially. And who's to say that they're not guided by some political or personal reasons, and they just want to be denying research. I don't know. I don't. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just this system of IRB, or like any type of research permissions,
Yeah.
wasn't designed for Indian people or by Indian people, but for some reason it has had a pretty big impact in my academic life.
Yeah.
But I feel like it really had nothing to do with the people that I was working with in terms of the Indian people. Like, it was never a thing. It just seemed like it was something to make the non-native or the institution feel good.
Yeah.
Which I was like, well, what exactly are they providing? And it really didn't seem. I mean, I get it in terms of genetics and some of the more bio or molecular kind of sciences.
Right.
I kind of get when you're talking about physical human material, but
Right.
in terms of intellectual property and oral histories, and
Yeah.
we have our own set of protocols, which
Right.
at least for the crow, it's pretty simple, right? If someone tells you a story, you give them something for it.
Right.
If they accept, that is them giving you permission to use it.
Right.
If they don't accept, that's basically just you heard a cool story.
Right. Yeah.
That's it,
Yeah. 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 I think it's agreed. I largely agreed, and I don't know how many people would argue with you about this, but yeah, tribal IRB does not emulate or represent a true traditional or tribal protocol for permission. Agreed.
And if we're wrong, maybe one of our listeners can correct us.
Yeah, because I think some organizations I think are out there that are trying to change that, but I don't know what success they've had or how it looks. But it seems that IRB, no matter what title you have in front of it, emulates a Western academic structure. It's meant to protect human subjects, and even
which is good.
Yeah, it's needed. But even more today, you see tribal IRBs adding to that, where not only protection of human subjects, but protection of cultural, what do you call it? Cultural products or cultural themed. I don't know if theme's the right word. Things cultural. So landscapes, um, any sort of tangible cultural products, like if somebody wants to recreate a canoe, I suppose, do you have to go through tribal IRB to do that? I don't know, man. It just seems like that it's been more and more things are added onto that to protect the cultural resources, if you will. But then it works against the native researcher, because then they have to jump through several hoops to do something like that. Like say they want to recreate that like a canoe. I mean, they have to do some research on that.
Mhm.
Should they have to get an IRB approval for crying out loud? I don't think so, but
And where do we start? Because I noticed like in these writing 101 classes, or
yeah,
where they'll say go and interview a member of your family, right?
yeah, yeah,
How come they don't have to go through the IRB?
right, right. And that
Or
brings
how come the common rule isn't common?
it needs a different name. So okay, so yeah, so this is the thing. Ethnographic research versus just talking to your auntie. What's the difference?
Well, if we want to be honest, ethnographic research typically meant it was a white person
Right.
talking to your auntie.
Right.
I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
white folk. Nothing wrong with white people. I mean,
Yeah.
full disclosure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a descendant. I'm a great grandchild of a white lady.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. I really am.
It wasn't a joke until you said that. It wasn't a joke. Then it
Oh
became
no,
funny.
no, I feel bad.
Okay, so yeah, so what?
After I said it, I was like, oh no, that sounds like the Cherokee thing.
I get it.
People,
So I think we need to talk to somebody about this. We need to clarify some things. And
we need like a IRB expert on
we need
on
we need we need the native IRB expert who says, okay, this is what's going on in the country now, and this is where we're at.
who is that?
I don't
Who is
know.
that?
I'm hoping somebody listening will know. I know a couple people who work in that area, and I'm certainly going to reach out to them. But I know there's somebody out there. They're listening now. They're shaking their heads, and these guys don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Which is possible.
Yeah, I know.
See, and I think I fully admit that I'm a flawed person, and on all levels, right? And academically is no different. So I think sometimes when people say, when we ask these questions, I think it's legit. I really want to know. It's not like I'm not setting anybody up. I'm not doing that like let's see who thinks they know kind of thing.
I gotcha.
I'm not. I'm not.
Gotcha
I used to tell my
episode.
students, I would say I'm not a teacher, or I'm not an instructor that tries to trick his students, meaning like I'm not gonna have surprise questions. Or like I don't want I mean, you need the class.
Yeah.
And I need you to be here, so let's make it worth your while. But I'm not gonna trick you, you know.
I get paid if you're here.
So that's my my thing with this IRB thing is like, I feel like I've worked with IRB more than the average person,
right?
But yet I still don't have a grasp of it, which I think is an issue.
It is, and importantly, how it works in and how it should look in Indian country or tribal communities, I think is pretty important. And I want to know the answer, and I know somebody knows, so we want to get them on. We're gonna put the challenge out there, not the gotcha challenge, not not the that we're gonna prove you wrong, or just to open the discussion to a wider audience to find answers.
Did you say a wider audience?
A wider.
Or did you say a whiter audience?
W-I-D.
I couldn't help myself.
W-I-D-E-R. Okay.
So this is the next issue.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good, let's take a little breather here for a second. I think this is a good chance to hit the reset.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. Let's reset. Now, I didn't get too creative this time. All I got is this. Now, you know what else I want from the audience, from the listeners? This new little jingle I got going on. I don't know if I like it, and I want some feedback because Aaron's not letting loose with it. He's not laughing at it. He's stone faced.
I mean, full disclosure, I'm a bit ill today, so, and not ill like Beastie Boys ill. Like under the weather. So
Okay, not you're not your peppy, feisty self. That's fine. It's fine, man. Okay, let's go. Here we go.
it doesn't sound like from here, from the Flathead
No,
Rez.
it doesn't.
The singers, I mean,
It doesn't.
and it doesn't sound like Blackfeet or any kind of Blackfoot singers from the
Yeah.
60s or 70s or
I'm
even
I'm making a guess. It's maybe some North Dakotans or South Dakotans.
It does kind of
some
have
Sioux.
that. Yeah, it could, but I'm gonna think it's either Crow or like Fort Belknap, North Dakota, like that.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't have that kind of South Dakota
Oh, really?
thing to it. Yeah, I mean, but of course,
That's just my
I'm not
first
an expert.
guess. Yeah, I want to know. We're gonna know. But first of all, I just wanted to mention this that there's a little old gallery way down south in Austin, Texas, by the name of Wild. That's WYLD. Wild. Now this guy, he started this gallery and featuring some very exclusive, one of a kind native art. And he's just hoping people will maybe log in to his website at wyld.gallery and maybe browse around and maybe find yourself a nice little Christmas present for your loved ones and help this guy out.
I went and checked it out.
I did too.
I went and checked out. It's cool, man.
He's got
The guy's gallery is nice, man.
It
It's not
is.
limited to any one genre, too, which is kind of cool.
yeah, and featuring 3 native artists.
Yeah, man. One of
Yeah.
them, which is Crow.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I you know what I think? I thought I contemplated reaching out to one of them and maybe we can have an episode next week talking about art in particular in relation to the things that we talk about. I don't know if it's going to work out, but we'll see.
Yeah, reach out, man.
I'm gonna do it.
That's a good idea.
Did you know the Crow gentleman who's featured there on the
I don't know him personally,
Okay.
but his work is awesome, man. I
Yeah.
know we'd use some. I think his name's Dale Kerfman, or
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember. I can't even. We for that Chicago exhibit I was a part of. They used some of it. I wasn't part
really?
of that, like the decision making. I
Oh.
didn't know, but that's how I was introduced to his work, and it was good, man. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, his website, wyld.gallery. Check it out, man. I'm going to put it in the show notes too. So if you're listening, log in, click on down there and check it out. We also set up, because we're unaffiliated now with the institution, I also did set up a patron page. Is it patron or Patreon? How do you say that?
I think it's Patreon.
Is it?
You gotta ask one of your kids because they know more about that. They know like analytics and
I don't know. Patreon.
and
So we do have a Patreon site now, and we would appreciate if you do enjoy the show and you are enjoying the things we talk about. Yeah, kick in a few bucks, and that'll help us
I
out.
put it on my Indigenous Archaeology Instagram. So if you just go to Indigenous Archaeology, the Patreon site is
Yeah, and it'll be in the
The
show
bio
notes. It'll be in the show notes too for this episode. Check it out. I think I set a goal. If we can get a certain amount of patrons, we can start doing a video cast and a monthly live recording where we can take call-ins. I think that's the goal I set. So that'd be pretty nice to get some audience participation, some questions, Q&A, some live. When Aaron's feeling a little better, think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of this monolith thing in the Utah desert?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah. Pretty
And
crazy.
then some dudes just like picked it up and took it out of
Yeah,
there.
they're like this is ruining the desert and hauled it off. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I get it. I took a trip in when I was in high school, part of a biology club I was in, and we had to learn all about the desert before we went down and how delicate, the surfaces are, because there's I can't remember what they call it. There's like a crust on the surface and very delicate to the ecosystem there. What do they call it? Symbiotic relationships between fungus and the plants. I don't know. I'm getting way out of my expertise here talking about ecology. But yeah. So anyway, okay. I was trying to get to the song, right? So that was just the repeat of the song I played in the beginning. Again, I'm not sure where it's from, but we had some guesses. I was thinking right off, oh, maybe that's some Sioux over there in the Dakotas, maybe even Fort Peck. I don't know, but hopefully a listener will know and can tell us. So this is the next question. All right, this is kind of kicking off, I guess from what we were talking about previously about the IRB, and I'm wondering, is there a path forward for tribal nations of tribes? That's the same thing I said, just backwards. Is there a way for us to revise this process that's going to work for Native scholars, or do we even need to? I mean, I don't know, man, because there's an unspoken rule generally among tribal people about permissions and protocols. Do we need to write that down? Do we need to formalize that? What do you think?
So here's my
Okay.
thought. I don't think Native people should be wasting their time trying to fix the IRB to fit them. I think it's more or less of a admitting when a system doesn't work for us.
Right.
So what do you do? So the question then becomes, hey, should we try to fix this, or should we just completely rebuild something else? So I don't know. I've used the fencing analysis analogy before.
Yeah.
It's easier to rebuild a fence sometimes than it is to fix a bad one.
Yeah.
And anyone who's fenced before knows that if you're patching up a bad fence, it's just like a pointless, it just seems like I should just rip this whole thing down.
Yeah.
So I think the IRB has a place. I don't want people to think that we're like this bad mouthing the IRB. I think it has its place, but I don't necessarily think it's with Native people.
Right.
So, because it's an odd deal. Like I know, like my thesis on paper is the property of the University of Montana.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That's weird, you know?
And everything therein.
Yeah, and it's like, wait a second, man. I don't even own that knowledge, you know? Like, I did something different though. See, my thesis is about fasting and vision, or what they used to call vision quest archaeology of fasting.
Right.
I made it available to the public.
Right. As it should be.
As it should be, because the people I interviewed, they were like, they never told me this was hidden information, or they never said, hey, don't be printing this or anything, because I even told them this is what I'm doing it for. So, and they're like, yeah, okay,
right,
moving on, you know, like, so I didn't hide the information by making it like proprietary information or anything, because they didn't tell me to.
Right. Yeah, you know what, I don't know. It's one of those things where, so growing up, we see progress happening all around us, right? I mean, technology is a good example. You know, my kids are just kind of chuckling around because I said when I was a kid, the internet didn't even exist, and they couldn't even fathom that idea. They even asked me, what kind of iPhone did you have when you were a kid? No such thing. So as time has
Did
progressed,
you go like this? Did you put your hand up to your ear with the pinky and the
yeah,
thumb?
yeah,
This is the only phone I had.
yeah, yeah. You can
I
hear,
remember when
yeah.
I remember houses that didn't even have phones.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know, like everyone had that auntie that would come over to use the phone.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Still have them.
or sometimes you were that family that was going over to use
Yeah, go
a
over to neighbors
relative's
and
phone.
call your uncle, see if he's in jail or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No kidding. Yeah. So I mean, okay. So you see this progress happening, and of course, tribal people, native people, we're survivors. We just roll with it and take the practical pieces and move on, right? So this is the thing. Research, the idea of research, that hasn't gone away. We still do our own research, type of research. It's not formalized in a textbook or housed in an institution. It just happens and is held in the community. Um, so yeah, I agree that we don't need to formalize that process in a piece of writing and a paper. But what happens when we start, as we start to progress and we see things like tribal colleges wanting to promote tribal research on tribal lands? How do we respond to that? And I know we don't necessarily have to write what we would assume to be a template from a Western institution of an IRB, but how then? What do you think is the starting point of resolving that conflict, of meeting federal regulations, because a lot of things are federally funded and need to be have all the check marks for the proper research protocols? How then does a tribal nation, or a nation of tribes, if you will, I added tribes in there, how do we resolve that, man? And I know you don't have the answer because you're rubbing your face and your temple and you're like, oh god.
I don't know. I don't have the
I
answer.
don't either.
But I also think that I don't think you can have the answer.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, I don't I just don't know. But what I would say is tribal people have to be willing to like push the boundary a little bit and question it, because I
Yeah.
don't even think we really do that. I think we go back home to our houses or to our friends and we'll bitch about it. But the
Yeah.
truth is we don't question those kind of things. It's not just the IRB, it's other
Oh
things
yeah.
like culture committees and cultural directors and
Mm-hmm.
like the way history's taught in schools, or we
Yeah.
just kind of say, oh, just do it, just go through the motions, and then it's like we go home and say, you don't have to listen to that, or you don't have to do it. It's like, well, why do we choose to still, why can't we just change it?
Yeah.
But I don't know if it can be. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I know. Well, it's more of a question just to throw out there for listeners to contemplate, because I think collectively we could come up with an answer. And I'm a little bit on and I'm not too pessimistic generally, but when it comes to this kind of thing, when I think about community held knowledge, I think we're starting to stray from that too far. And I
Well, it's like the scribes in the Bible,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it, it's just like, whoa, wait a second, man. Like
Yeah, yeah.
tribal knowledge belongs with tribal people. Otherwise, it's no longer tribal knowledge. It's
Right,
just this thing. It's a stagnant thing. It's You're taking a river and turning it into a pond, and
right,
it's not designed that way.
right.
So I'm real skeptical of any institution or any organization or even any family
Yeah,
that kind of has that mentality of like controlling information,
yeah,
knowledge, or
yeah.
regulating it. So let me tell you something. I come across this tape,
Okay.
another tape find.
Tape find.
And it was a lady who was talking about a cultural committee, and not from the Flathead res, a different res.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying it must have been the research project must have been the development of this cultural committee, which was in the late 60s and early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person's asking the lady, like, well, what were some of your goals? And she said, and very openly, that one of the goals was to like unify the creation stories that this tribe had.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Crows, right?
Okay.
And there was, like she said, there was several versions of the creation story, and what we wanted to do was kind of create one, make one official one. And then she went on to talk about how she hinted at
Mm-hmm.
regretting that,
Right.
because once it got out there and it was from the cultural commission, it made it official. Kind of, it turned it into doctrine, canon, right? And anything outside of that version was fake. It was this guy's talking. Yeah. And we know, just from the way tribes work, variation on any level is good. Narrative variation is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right.
And that different stories or different versions of stories there's no, I mean, yeah, there's a general theme. I think that's correct, but I kind of was agreeing with what she was saying. And she actually went on to talk about how they talked about lullabies, children's lullabies. And in one of the children's lullabies, it actually does say, I'm going to eat testicles. Mm-hmm. Now, anyone who's been to a branding or zone cattle knows you can eat Rocky Mountain oysters, right?
Right.
It's like a delicacy. Tribes did it too, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't a crazy thing. So she's just saying that, well, they changed the word in the lullaby, the commission did, to liver. So now, me growing up, I heard the version of the liver.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And you might not think that's like a big deal, but it kind of is, you know?
Yeah. And yeah, you see that same phenomenon happening here in the 70s when, there was a bunch of school curriculum being created for, to revive some cultural things.
I think it was all out of that bilingual program monies from the 70s.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot of the stories edited for content here, the kind of the rotten kind of stuff, or the things that would seem unsavory in today's delicate minds. I don't know. Take that stuff out. Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. So yeah, I don't know, we're in kind of a weird state here of trying to adopt, and I don't even know if that's the right word, but trying to keep up with federal regulations and the things we have to do. But I think, if we're going to exert this idea of being sovereign, we need to kind of put our foot down in certain areas and really come to understand what the purpose of an IRB process is for. And that's really to keep people from getting exploited, especially in relation to human subjects research. But I don't know why we kind of took that idea and ran with it and said, okay, well, we should apply this to everything. I mean, I kind of get it, because we're not all on the same page, man. You could have your neighbor who's, grew up with you, and they could take some nuggets of cultural information and exploit it for their own benefit. And that's, I can see how it would be hard to corral all those kind of things in.
But when did that become our job?
Right. You mean to corral in cultural things?
Yeah, when is that ever in our history been a thing?
Right. I mean, I'm sure there was certain behaviors that needed to be corrected, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like okay, I'm gonna go show this neighborhood tribe how to make bows the way we do. Okay, yeah, good. go do it.
All right.
Is that what you're talking about? Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, like just
Yeah.
anything. Like what? Like when has it been a thing? Like I don't understand. Like now, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Indian people are like, we're very like we put a lot of boundaries on ourselves.
Yeah. We're very stingy with things. I think anyway.
Yeah, man.
Like I'm not
I
gonna.
agree, man. Like
Yeah. They're very stingy. You can see it in
and
a lot of things.
with a lot of things. Yeah, like a lot of things. We're stingy with, from tangible things to like even to like psychological things, you know.
Yeah.
We're very stingy with our emotions, we're very stingy with our surroundings, we're stingy with, and it's tough to get out of that. Like you try not to be, and you want to be a generous person on all fronts. I think that's the goal. And Native people, that's what we come from. We come from generosity, people who, but there's somehow this new version of who we are as like, oh, he's a Crow or he's a Blackfeet or he's Salish, and it's like that they're orange Kool-Aid and I'm purple. It's like, man, I don't think that's how it was even back then. I don't think the first interaction when you saw another tribe was to be like, we gotta kill him. You know, like I don't think that. I think most of the time tribes either didn't interact or they just, it was pretty easy going, you know. Like I don't think, especially after smallpox, it affected manpower so much that I don't think the goal then was to go around and kill more people or get more people killed.
Yeah.
So I don't believe this notion of somehow like us and them. That's a very European thing.
It is.
And it's very Christian, right? It's very exclusive, and it's you and
I agree.
I'm rambling now. I'm in the weeds.
You're rambling. Yeah. Okay. So this is a good example of that. I don't know if you remember in the 90s, you know, everybody was pretty.
Talk about the Berlin Wall?
No, not the Berlin Wall. Come on. We're talking local.
Gorbachev.
We're going local. Okay. We're going local. Okay. So in the 90s, 80s and 90s, you know, you're really cautious. You didn't want to sing a song of somebody's that was at the same powwow that you were. Like you wouldn't sing a song, one of Southern Cree's songs, if they were there. That was like no. They're probably still the same today, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it is. I don't think it's like that anymore. No. If people were really exclusive about it, you know, and I get it, you know, if certain songs were sung for certain reasons, but man, it's on a CD and you're selling it. So I, you know, if you're putting sacred songs on a CD, you don't want people to sing.
You dare not sing someone's drum song. You remember drum songs?
Yeah. Don't sing that drum song for women's traditional, okay? It's not what it's
Wasn't
for.
the drum song supposed to be kind of like their first song? The first song they sing at a powwow?
I think
so. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Do you remember drum song?
Yeah.
But what were they for?
I don't know. You know, it didn't take hold around here really. I don't know. I couldn't say.
The furthest west I ever known it to be was Black Whistle. Black Whistle had a drum song.
Oh yeah. Huh.
I think Painted Horse did too.
Probably, yeah. I'm not too sure.
Because it's from that time, you know.
It is. It was really real heavy.
We're losing.
But
yeah, I think nowadays it's kind of like a cool thing because everyone likes retro stuff. So if you sing like an old contempt crew like IRB or Southern Cree, you sing one of their tunes now, I think it's like cool.
Right.
But you dare not did that at the time.
No.
Yeah.
It's tribute.
At the time, like I remember one time Southern Cree sang a Blackstone song.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, that's a Blackstone tune. But then I remember them trying to do the math on Powwow Standing Rock and
the ratio.
A couple other dudes. They were like, well, they actually sing with Blackstone sometimes. And so it's like they were trying to justify it. And I was like, that's funny, man.
They got 3 OGs from Blackstone, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right, man. They're song makers sitting there.
Yeah. That seems way more relaxed these days with that. I think
Yeah,
that was a weird
I don't think it's a
transitionary
thing.
period.
Yeah, well, because I think it was new. People don't realize like how new contempt singing is. To
Yeah.
me, where you seen those rules, all those rules, that was with contempt drums.
What rules?
Like like you don't sing other people's songs.
Right.
Another one was like being loyal to your crew.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like that was a thing. Like you had to be loyal to the drum, like that drum,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
even like the putting the hand on the drum thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And rubbing it on yourself. Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah,
That came
which
at that time.
I don't remember, or like when all the older dudes I sang with, they didn't.
No.
I didn't see him do that. I mean, maybe once in a while, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's in the
Yeah,
contempt.
what's like another rule?
That's in the contempt genre. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, or when you're done singing and then everyone puts their sticks on the drum,
Oh, yeah.
like in like the order, so like it looks kind of cool. Or the tying like money to the drum.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or like when you sing with the old dudes, most like I guess if you call them traditional guys, they typically didn't put their drumsticks on the drum.
Right.
They lean them on the side. But then
Yeah.
again, there was no hard and fast rules, man.
Right. Right, right.
Like there wasn't.
That's interesting. We
I don't know.
we need to get somebody from the old Iabe crew on here, chat up about
Maybe
these.
maybe they are traditional rules, but they just weren't from our region, and
Right.
our region then adopted them.
That's what I'm
They could
thinking.
be, I guess.
That's what I'm
You'd
thinking.
have to. I just know from the grass dance ceremony, the rules of the drum in the grass dance ceremony
Yeah.
are different than that of like what we've seen in the contempt singing world. So
Right.
back in the day, if Blackfoot Crossing sang a Mandaree song, I don't think anyone cared.
Right. No. No. He just want to dance. He's trying to get people to dance, man. That's it.
Yeah, you like a tune,
You like a
you
tune?
sing the tune.
You sing the
And
tune.
even if that person's there, you might buy them a cup of coffee or something if you know they made that song and say, hey, we sang your song for Grand Entry. Oh, I heard that, man.
Yeah.
You guys sing it good. I think the rule is though you don't sing someone's song shabby.
That rule has not died. Yeah.
So I think that's the rule. So like if you're gonna sing an Eagle Whistle tune and you know it's a Bill Runs Above song, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
you sing it right,
Yeah.
sing it good. Don't shab out. Now, if you're 10 years old and there's a group of kids from middle school, and they have leeway, they can mess up, they can, you know what I mean? But if you're 40 years old and you got experienced singers and you guys shab out on that tune,
Yeah. No
it's
excuse.
just come on, don't do that,
No
man.
excuse. None at all. Yeah. That's
I like it when we talk about music.
I know. It's
'Cause
fascinating.
I don't talk to anybody about it.
It's fascinating. And you know what? We need to get somebody on here from one of them old G drum groups. Yeah.
Like it would be kind of cool to get someone like regional, so like someone from Oklahoma to talk about like old school stuff, because then someone from like Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and then someone from uh like Moscow cheese or something, like
Yeah.
up there, and then you can you'll really get a sense of kind of the style, and then what became known as what we call contempt, which
Yeah.
I really think was born out of like Cree style of singing,
Yeah.
or like kind of a blend of like maybe like Sioux style stuff with Cree stuff. But I think it's really easy to say a lot of contempt drums came from Canada, which I'm not a guy that's against contempt singing. So
Yeah.
I prefer to sing straight. Like I sing straight songs. I like
Yeah.
to sit at straight drums, but I like listening to a cool contempt song that kind of really gets the juices flowing.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't, man? Yeah. No, we do need to explore more in that realm, because that's really interesting. That whole, you can see these waves of changes if you're really into it and you kind of grew up around it. There's probably even more folks than even us, that has traveled more regionally or more nationally to really see those trends. And we're gonna get one of those guys on here, man. We're gonna grill him,
Because I would say
with questions. What?
I was a regional guy, you
Pretty
know.
regional. Yeah, me too.
I wasn't national traveler, but I will say I've seen a lot of change in the short amount of time I've been involved with singing. And
Oh yeah.
well, I mean, really, we lived through the tape to MP3 to your phone recording.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Can you imagine? Do you remember like having to go look for tapes like at a store, or like hoping a powwow stand had tapes, blank tapes?
Yeah. Batteries. Bring your enough batteries. Yeah, and the mini disc had a little blip in there. Don't forget about the mini disc.
Oh, the mini
Just
disc,
a little
man.
blip.
I had a couple parts that were like swore by them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you can't even like, they have all these mini discs, but no one has a mini disc player.
I know.
They were, I kind of feel like they were cheap, like cheaply made.
Oh, I never had one. I don't know. Yeah. I believe you.
They were just, so when everything was really hard, like the buttons would kind of break down easy. So, and like, you didn't really know, like when I would record with it, like I didn't know, is it actually recording, you know?
Yeah.
At least with the tape recorder, you saw the little, and to me, honestly, that analog tape still is one of the better sounds.
You're a purist.
Well, I think that's why I like Indian house records, you know.
Played on the original vinyl.
Yeah. Well, I heard this one guy say humans don't hear in digital. So why do we record things in digital, or like in that we were analog is designed for us to process it.
Right. I believe it, man. I believe it.
You know when you pop in like an old Battle River tape.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
It does.
It sounds good. Are those old Fort Duchesne tapes?
Yeah. The live ones. Back when you knew it was live, and I don't know. Maybe you weren't really bought into the whole idea of production of music. You're just singing. I guess that still happens, you know, people just sing, and it happens to be a recording equipment around you.
I had a cousin that would dub his powwow recordings and then sell them for $5 a tape. So you could buy like Fort Hall or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
And those are classics.
They are. Well, okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this more. We have to. We're gonna open it up to the powwow scene of singing. Get a good couple dozen episodes.
Especially them old school singers, you know.
I know.
Them old school singers are real analytical, and they're like, they critique their own music, they critique their region, so they kind of know their sound. Like John Stiffarm's a good example. Like he knows that sound, but because of all his travels, he knows like when he hears a Blackfoot group, he's like, oh, that's a Blackfoot group. And and I would say you're the same way. Michael Framboise is the same way. And there's a lot of other dudes like Leonard. I got to sit at a drum with Leonard Kozad, and that's how he was, man, talking about singing. And like he would talk about like song composure, like who's made, you could tell when someone was making a song. And he's like, I knew that was so-and-so song because of how it was put together, but also who was singing it, because they were from that region, that song style. Like Kenny Merrick Jr., right? Junior Merrick had a certain style of song making.
Yeah.
I just got excited, man.
You did. You're getting all worked up, man. You're not feeling well, so you just calm down a little bit.
I know. I'm actually burning out on you, so.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I think I said maybe one sentence in the last half hour. No, I
you never get to talk about songs.
I know.
And music, and
I know. We're gonna get to it.
I mean, I think a lot of our podcasts have been about music, but people have to realize like that's the only time we're ever talking about it.
Yeah. We don't get that much.
You know, because it's not like I like walk out in the living room and be like, hey man, hey, come here. Let's compare IRB Straits to Mystic River Straits, you know?
Well, let's close this up here then. And just remind the listeners again that if you want to keep up to date with what we're up to as far as our venture, Tribal Research Specialists, we do have a Twitter, Tribal Research, and we do have a Facebook page for the podcast in particular called Tribal Research Specialists, the podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel for our Tribal Research Specialist, and we're uploading content on there now. I uploaded one of the videos that we produced exploring Salish ontological understandings from oral tradition. So check that out. And again, if you like the show, if you listened this far into it, consider helping us out with a little donation. Helps us to keep the show going. Maybe we can get Aaron some Theraflu.
One time I accidentally got drunk on Theraflu. I didn't, my chemistry was wrong. I didn't mix it right, man. I panicked. I went to the ER and they laughed at me. They're like, yeah.
You got alcohol poisoning from Theraflu.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
Dude, you're not sick, man. You're drunk.
Cool, man. And then so that's the deal. We'll wrap this one up, and then of course thanks again to our one patron so far who's contributed a small amount to keeping our show going. And again, consider throwing a little donation our way. So that's all we got for today. So anything else, Aaron? You good?
No, sir, man. Thank you very much. I'm glad we're doing this again, and it's going to take a little bit before we get back into the swing of things and kind of get the podcast mindset again. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Me too. The end.
Stop. Cut. Lights. Camera.
All right. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And if you want to learn more about what we're up to, go ahead and search Tribal Research Specialists in Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and check out our other sites. And if you want to contribute to the show, go ahead and look us up on Patreon. We would appreciate your donation.